Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? What we're going to be talking about right now is what people are seeing and experiencing in everyday life when it comes to being of the prepared mind. I get sent pictures, videos, emails, and links. And if you would like to send me something for a video, my email is in the description box below. So this first email comes in from a community member and she has me laughing. She said, "Oh my gosh, this is so me laughing my butt off. I'm watching Mortal Engines on Amazon Prime. Talk about food exploration. Laugh out loud. Looks like I'm not so wrong." Well, I also have something for you that I'm going to read to you, and I tweaked it a little bit to fit us more along the lines. Talk about food snobs. Here you go. So, there is nothing wrong with being a food snob, right? Food snobs offer valuable sources to their communities, such as market insight, educated opinions, and keeping the restaurant industry honest and on its toes. But still, there are always some culinazis pissing in the crab bisque, food snobs who make themselves way too seriously, using my channel for psychological warfare over trifles, and worst of all, scare the ever-loving brioche buns off of new preppers and canners who are just trying to discover what is out there. In the spirit of protecting budding culinarians, as well as the rest of us without wooden spoons jammed up our arses, from the harsh and insensitive behavior of old guard foodinistas, here is a list of the top 5 things that food snobs should just stop doing. Bon appetit. Well, we all get that you have the biggest zucchini in the room, but do you have to take it out and flop it onto the dinner table? One of the biggest gripes I hear from both new preppers and canners and non-preppers and canners is that longtime food snobs tend to dominate social conversations with food topics, which isn't too great to sin, but then many of them go a step further and stage impromptu culinary lectures wherever they may be, and everyone is expected to sit at their feet all Socrates style and eagerly drink in their every word. And people who aren't into food really don't give a fat bull's bollocks about culinary diffusion along with ancient spice routes through the Middle East, nor do they care to listen to endless arguments about why Asian fusion is so 1998. Stop it, you're scaring the straights. The next one. Nobody likes that person, specifically the guy or gal who holds up the drive-through at Sonic, asking the employees whether or not their beef is organic, who harasses the strangers in lines at Walmart about their GMO-infested romaine hearts, and who cannot help but commenting on why the Chilean produce is always underripe to anyone within a 3-foot radius at Whole Foods. You have opinions, and maybe some, if not all of them, are valid. But there is a time and a place for you to spout your awesomely awesome food activist rants, and pick times and places that don't involve irritating people who may be polite enough to humor you, but who also really do not care about your beef with Norman Borlaug. Posing like you eat nothing but watercress salads and eat wild-caught salmon fillets is unrealistic, and nobody's going to believe you. Being a food snob means that you probably don't know about and indulge in plenty of gourmet meals, fine wines, and above-par coffees. But to deny the rejuvenating properties of a chicken fried steak sandwich with extra pickles is unnecessary snobbery for no good reason. Own up to your canned tamales, your Cheetos, your Cool Whip, and your occasional forays into the deep, dark underworld of fast foods. It will make you seem less like a snotty wink wanker and more like a normal human being with a root beer float mustache. It's pretty neato to be the person in the room with the most food knowledge, but lording your vast acquired comprehension of cruciferous vegetables and obscure Italian pastas over the unlucky peasants caught in your ego stroking web is not doing them much of a service. New preppers and canners are your brothers and sisters. They are lovely, empty vessels ready to be filled with information about goat cheese and Beaujolais wine and endive and appetizers. And sure, it's easy to pick on the poor, clueless Sutter home drinking California roll eating masses, but it would be a much more humane and productive use of your time and effort to bring them up to your level rather than to beat them down. And the last one is the single biggest thing food snobs do that make me want to scream and smash my face into my morning oatmeal and create or utilize my channel for the forces of evil rather than good. It's fine that so many everyday citizens want to sing about their food experiences online, and it's downright heartwarming to see novice food lovers share the latest biz about restaurants and markets and tastings. But reading trifling and self-indulgent erroneous drivel from people who are too chicken shit to address dining issues in person like grown folks should, it's grounds for dismissal. Whining about how the local stores don't carry the bamboo skewers you want, or how the seafood restaurant up the street did not give you enough tartar sauce is inane, considering how easy it is to ask questions and clearly define your expectations while actually shopping and dining. We all know the old saying about how opinions are like assholes. But using YouTube channels for dirty pool sport doesn't make you a respected expert on prepping or canning. It makes you the person we all wish would spare us the pleasure of your company. Auf Wiedersehen. So this article was sent in by a community member, and I will leave the links and all links that are sent to me in the description box below. So did you know that the newest member of the San Francisco Selections Commission is a 7-member civilian body that oversees and creates policy for the city's Department of Selections isn't legally allowed to vote? Yes, that's right. Her name is Kelly Wong. She is a immigrants' rights activist and is believed to be the first known citizen appointed to the commission. Yes, so that link will be in the description box below for your reading pleasure. Yeah. So here is an email that was sent in by a community member along with a picture. She said, this is a recipe I got off the net to make ramen noodle seasoning. Oh, awesome. She said, I multiplied the amounts by 6 because I didn't want to measure 1/6 of a teaspoon of paprika. I don't blame you. She said, this makes, it's not a mistake. This makes a pint-sized container. You can use it on rice and pasta and anything else for a little bit of flavor. Just add a little bit of butter or water. I use chicken bouillon. I'm going to make 2 more jars. One using beef bouillon and the other one using tomato bouillon. A good addition to my spice shelf. Yum. Thank you. So here's an email from a community member. She said, girl, listen to this one. My son has a 2016 Dodge Ram. He's paying $102 a month for full coverage through Infinity. In October, his same insurance went up to $333 a month. Oh, no tickets, no nothing. And he's 39 years old, and this is in California. He asked why so high, because not many insurance companies are doing full coverage anymore. Why? If you have a car payment, you have to have full coverage. So what an excuse. I'm 69. My insurance went up $300 a year. I barely drive. My 2011 RAV4 only has 40,000 miles on it. So you can tell I don't drive much. And you're right. Nobody can afford anything in California. I live in a mobile home and have been there since 2000. My space rent went from $250 a month to $1,000 a month. Oh. Since I've been there, it goes up 6% a year. I retired in October 2019. I'm glad I did because COVID hit right after that. The crime here is horrific. When I retired, my travel trailer got stolen right out of the park storage lot, and the truck got stolen right out of the parking lot. Dear Lord. Never to be found. now our border is wide open and they're just pouring in. I turned you on this morning and heard you talking about the insurance, so I had to tell you, yeah, I know the insurance. It's going up everywhere. It's crazy. I mean, it's literally like, it's just another smack in the damn face. It really, truly is. So here's something from a community member. California water managers announced they're sharply limiting deliveries to just 15% of what most urban and agriculture water agencies requested. Thank you. So here's an email from a community member. She said, hey, I want to share info on an alternative to save on food. Oh, do tell. She said, I went to a local warehouse that sells food, etc. No fridge or freezer food. Oh, so not just non-perishables? Okay. She said, I got green giant carrots for 69 cents, 6 pack of 16.9 ounce bottles of Canada Dry ginger ale. I love ginger ale. That's the only soda that I'll actually drink. Yeah. For 265. Really? Packets of Idaho and instant mashed potatoes, 99 cents. Progresso and chunky Campbell's soup for $1.53. Wow. Because like even like in Walmart's, it's like $3 a can. That's insane. They have a close dated or just past date selection where I've gotten Barilla whole grain linguine 16-ounce box for 25 cents a box. Oh, get out of here. Honey made graham crackers, 49 cents, etc. Where is this? They have a lot of Dollar Tree items for 89 cents instead of $1.25. You got to save where you can. Yeah, no kidding. Where is this? Do they have a website? You may very well have a store like this in your own town. It pays to check up on. Yeah, I hope this can help in these very expensive times. On a side note, a while back, you spoke about high car insurance. This is literally affecting everybody. That's why Sean and I and Andrew and my daughter-in-law, we literally left USAA, even though we're a military family. We had to leave USAA. We had to because their rates were skyrocketing. They were actually like the most expensive company. And we went to Progressive, and Progressive was like 10 times cheaper. And we're like, wait a minute, are we supposed to get, like not like privilege because we're military, but I mean, aren't we supposed to get like the best rates because we are military? What the heck, But no, we were actually getting the worst rates. I mean, it's like, what the hell? So she said, on a side, okay, I emailed you about my good experience with Progressive and how I was able to save big. Yes, that's why we went to Progressive, because of what you told us. She said, I heard you mention that your family switched to Progressive. Yes, it made me feel really good knowing that I helped you guys save so much needed cash. Yes, we literally went from paying, it was like $433 a month for 2 cars, liability only for 4 drivers. No tickets, no accidents, no nothing. And I mean nothing, okay? Down to it's just like just over $100 a month for 2 cars, liability only 4 drivers. Yeah. What? Where has Progressive been my whole life? So she said, it's nice to give back to you because you do so much for this. Well, thank you so much for seeing me like that, because you guys give so much to me. I feel like that's why I do what I do. You know what I mean? So she said, your friend in savings and preparedness from Minnesota. Well, thank you, sweetheart. I really do appreciate you and for getting us to go with Progressive. So thank you. So this was sent in by a community member. And when I read this, at first, I was just like, wait, what? And then when I read it, I was just like, this makes sense. What if the Walking Dead scenario was real, but instead of zombies we're dealing with in an SHTF, we were dealing with hungry people and looters. Defending long term is harder than offense. People assume you will get bum rushed, but a good offense will simply wait you out. You have to sleep at some point or need to collect water or food or look in a different location. With that said, having some defense can be enough of a deterrent. Most modern tactics give the impression that there's more force than there is. Police utilize this to hide the fact any old mob could overrun them easily. The community part of prepping is just as important as the defense part, and vice versa. One without the other, and you're in a bad spot no matter which way you look at it. But a lot of us have only our spouses or our kids as support. Not everyone has the backing of a community. If another group were to come along and try to take over your homestead, they could easily start picking off members of a small survival community, assuming that there's at least some sort of fortifications like sheet metal or cement bricks built up around the property. And you know for a fact that they have ammo if you force them into a siege. Don't underestimate the resources, the many resources it takes for 10 looters to overcome that situation and to make it worthwhile. So if looters assault your homestead, you have to consider whether it's worth sacrificing your men and resources over a cabbage patch and some chickens, because everything else is going to be used up to defend that homestead, especially if there's no line of communication and that homestead cannot guarantee its safety as a term of surrender. This goes double if the homestead adopts a scorched earth retreat mentality to make it even less worthwhile for assailants to assault the property. After looters deplete your supplies, there will be no outside help, be it government or local force. Even though we may be able to grow some, it would be extremely likely to hit the growing season, then also scavenging, barter trade, and some form of little game hunt and fishing in the local river. But due to your location, these won't be game changing, if possible at all. Also, take this in consideration. If the rule of law is gone and food is scarce enough to where most people are starving, the USA will likely be one of those most violent places on earth, simply due to the vast number of firearms we all own. Your lovely neighbor will become bloodthirsty cannibals. Any pets left outside will quickly be eaten by unprepared masses. Fish and game will be over harvested to the point where there's not much left except in complete desolate areas. If you have a garden that's visible from the road, you can't count on that to feed you. Desperate humans will do anything to survive. It's obvious during long-term disaster of unfathomable proportions. Even people who think they wouldn't steal, or loot would do so if their children were starving, and that's for damn sure. I'm super laid back, but I can't even imagine what I would do to protect my family in a situation like that. The amount of crimes that will be committed would absolutely skyrocket. Seemingly normal people would become monsters. There are a lot of people who would become the most vile and desperate versions of themselves in that situation. When things go bad, there will likely be more people who mean to do harm than there will be people who are prepared. This is something that you must accept and learn to deal with. The fact is, most people have no idea what it really takes to survive, and once their safety net is removed, they will become increasingly desperate and unpredictable. Even your once jolly neighbor will become a threat when he is faced with surviving without knowledge or supplies. And let's face it, even during the good times, there's a certain segment of our population that's just downright insane, from the idiots who go nuts and riot after their team loses a game, or to the violent criminals and gangs who are already terrorizing big cities throughout America. There's little doubt that total collapse would make urban living almost impossible. Right on. Wow. So here's an email and a link, which will be in the description box below. She said the beginning of this video, Devo, below the email, is dedicated to the coming eclipse. It includes news articles and info from the past in 1806 and 1811, which is the main one. The news is like doomsday scenario. Why the big deal from state authorities, police, etc., to see if they can scare us into compliance as they did with Mr. 19. How horrible it would be if people obey this time as well. See, that's why I felt it was so strange. This is just an eclipse. Why are you telling people to stockpile weeks worth of food and water and supplies and everything else and put in a stay-at-home order for an eclipse? Just because there's going to be tourists around? So what? Try living in a tourist attraction town like Orlando, like my parents do. My gosh, I mean, they would have to be hunkering down 24/7. You know what I mean? And my parents literally live right outside of Disney. I mean, that's just the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of in my life. So please tell me how a solar eclipse is uh, allowing officials to tell their residents and their citizens stockpile weeks worth of food and this and that and the other and hunker down and stay at home order and this that for an eclipse. Don't ever try to live in Orlando, man. You won't know what hit you. Oh my God, it's terrible. So she said, is this to instill fear? People will be happy if nothing happens. Well, of course. But it could establish a pattern of compliance due to fear. The news that you mentioned didn't seem to indicate what horrible things might occur just because of an eclipse, scare tactics. And that's exactly why I was questioning everything. They could use their sophisticated holograms and other things so people believe they're being invaded by aliens. Well, I mean, I don't believe in that stuff anyway. I don't know. Since there has been much talk about this, well, yeah. I mean, what is this? Independence Day? Is Will Smith going to save the day? You know what I mean? To fly a UFO? Is Jeff Goldblum going to do his thing with the putting a virus into the UFO? I mean, come on. They could use this time to drop live viruses from planes like Daeju chemtrails, anything to scare more people into compliance if nothing happens except for the eclipse. The news might blow off the prior rumors, but hail all those who were prepared. Hail all those who are prepared? Well, you know what? Where's our. We've been preparing for years. But yeah, we were the ones who've been called nuts. Where's our trophies, man? So she said, who really knows? The elites could be acting out of character if they didn't somehow take advantage of this natural phenomena to scare the crap out of people so they would become more compliant and obedient. Every time some new thing comes along, people with critical thinking skills will be prepared to deal with doomsday tactics. Yeah, no kidding. Okay, so here is a link that was sent in by a community member, and it's about Family Dollar Stores LLC pleaded guilty Monday to holding food, meds devices, and cosmetics under unsanitary conditions. Oh, related to rodent infestation at the company's West Memphis, Arkansas distribution center. Oh, that's disgusting. At the same time, criminal information unsealed in federal court in Little Rock, Arkansas, charged Family Dollar with one misdemeanor count of causing FDA regulated products to become unadulterated with while being held under unsanitary conditions. Wait a minute. How is that just a misdemeanor? How? The company, a subsidiary of Dollar Tree Incorporated, entered into a plea agreement that includes a sentence of a fine and forfeiture amount totaling $41.675 million, the largest ever monetary criminal penalty in a food safety case. The plea agreement also requires Family Dollar and Dollar Tree to meet robust corporate compliance and reporting requirements for the next 3 years. Okay, so that link will be in the description box below for you guys. So listen to this. This was sent in by a community member. And this was like, yo. So it says, so you got a check in the mail and it has your name on it. It was sent through certified mail and the bank on the check is real. You might be thinking, even if it is a scam, what's the harm in cashing in the check and then moving on? Quite a bit, actually. Recently, a Pinellas County, and Pinellas County is in Florida here, okay, not too far from me. Pinellas County resident received a letter pictured through certified mail, meaning the sender paid a higher rate for it to be delivered securely with a check for $2,355. The sender claims to be a mystery shopper. What? Which the recipient stated that they did recently sign up to be a part of. But the directions on what to do with this check are very sketchy. This check may initially clear your bank, and once you complete all of the timely instructions, which include paying yourself, buying a large amount of gift cards, and sending the codes to them immediately, your bank is going to determine that the check is fraudulent and pull the funds out of your account. Now, you're out of the $2,355 of your own money just because you spent some money to make their letter seem legitimate. Doesn't mean that it is. Thankfully, this resident realized it was fishy. Buying gift cards was their clue and handed it over to us to share with the community. Remember, if anyone you don't know is asking you to buy gift cards, send them the codes. And if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Holy smokes. Wow. That is a scam. No kidding. So here's another article that was sent in by a community member, and I'll read the summary for you, and then I'll put the link in the description box below. She said they'll get rid of Americans once a war starts. They'll cry they need bodies and give illegals a chance to join and become citizens. Dems are pushing for that. We can't people to join, yet you want to slash people. U.S. Army is slashing 24,000 jobs, 5% of its force, in bid to be better able to fight the next war. U.S. Army bosses have announced plans to slash 24,000 jobs, equivalent to 5% of its forces, in a move it claims will help prepare for the next major war. Yeah, right. If you want to prepare for a next major war, you amp up your army. You don't slash it. Okay, so here's an article sent in by a community member, and I will read the first paragraph to you, and then I will put the link in the description box below. Tyson Foods, the place where all of our chicken comes from, announced that it has reached an agreement for a twofold investment with Protix, Protix, one word, which is an insect ingredients company. The investment is intended to support the growth of the emerging insect ingredient industry and expand the use of insect ingredient solutions to create more sustainable proteins and lipids for the use in the global food system. Yum. And before I go, here is a video that was sent in by my husband, okay? So I will leave that for you, and I will see you guys in the next one. You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping, and as always, fear less. Ciao.
Exactly what's happening. It's exactly what we've done. John F. Kennedy was short-circuiting the New World Order. He had ordered the printing of constitutional money, United States notes, which would have destroyed the Federal Reserve, which is not an agency of the United States government. It's a private corporation owned and operated by the world bankers, controlled by the Illuminati, and its purpose was to destroy the middle class in this country and thus our economy, and throw us at the mercy of the New World Order.
And we see this unfolding now.
You see it unfolding now. You are seeing, and I predicted this well in advance, you are seeing the destruction of the economy of the United States. And it will continue. It will not get better. It's downhill from here on out. Unless we nationalize the Federal Reserve, lock up the criminals who own it, cancel the debt, which will then bankrupt the Illuminati, which is exactly what we ought to do, print constitutional money, which cannot be usurped, which cannot lead to our destruction, and go back to what we're supposed to do, and quit contracting for benefits. We're escaping from the laws of nature, and there's a terrible consequence for that. Mm-hmm. Terrible consequence. We have to function within the laws of nature. You can't contract for somebody else to keep you alive. You have to be responsible within your life to keep yourself alive.